So, good morning, everybody. I am excited to be here. My name is Tiffany Todd. I am in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and I service pretty much all of Dallas Fort Worth. And I can be reached at 214-537-0807 or on all social media platforms on Instagram and on TikTok. My name is Marathon Property Group. And then on Facebook, it is Tiffany Todd. So reach out, love to connect with you. So yeah, that's me. A little bit more. I am a mother of three children, single mother at that, raising three children, ages 20, 14, and 12. And so between that and selling real estate, I'm on the go, but love what I do. Been selling real estate 11 and a half years full time. Been doing relocation sales for the past 8.5 years. So former school teacher, taught high school for 8 years and taught pre-K for 1 year. So that is me.
And what subject did you teach in high school?
So in high school, I taught personal and family development, nutrition and food science, housing, interior design, money matters, and interpersonal studies.
Okay, that sounds like a lot.
So it's under the family and consumer sciences realm. They
Okay,
now call it career and technology. So basically, what I told people, I taught everything that you would use in your day-to-day life.
nice, nice. And I think today those are life lessons. I think we talk all the time that there's so many courses that should be taught in school because we don't teach people at all how to handle those things, how to handle their money, how to again, most folks don't have a checkbook except for Ben Baker now, but how how to do those simple things that all of a sudden you get out and we take it for granted being in this age range, but young kids today, they don't know anything about all of that. It blows my mind. But so thank you for that. I'm going to ask you this, because in our world, we've said it, I think the entire time I've been in real estate, when you see people that transfer from one career into this, nurses and teachers make the best agents. Why is that? Why is it? I think
I
I have,
feel
but what would you say?
I feel because as a teacher and even as a nurse, you come across so many different personalities, and that allows you to be able to adapt because you have those that need hand holding. And as you do in real estate, those you can tell them something, they got it. And then those that are in between. And I feel that has helped me in this real estate arena because I did have the teaching background. I was able to deal with the different personalities, even the mood swings and everything that comes with that. So that has helped with real estate.
Yeah, yeah. I've always said also, it seems like you guys just have a natural propensity for nurturing and
Hmm.
caregiving. Uh, that may or may not be the case, but I think in your case, what I know about you, I'd say that that's definitely the truth. I know what you bring to the table, and it's so funny. Just like Jonah on the call and Monique, ladies that I know, they bring also that energy on top of everything else, right? We've got to be a counselor. We've got to be the professional. There's so many boxes that we check, and so again, thank you for that. And thank you for being just a top professional. And I'll tell you, I think our buddy Orlando Powell couldn't jump on, and so he's already upset. Because if his butt was on here, you know how crazy he is, and I think many others do too. So um, anyway, thank you for all that. Now, I just wanted to get into just a couple other things before I let you just cut loose. On the investor side, what are you doing there? Because I know as I look across the spectrum here, there's a number of agents here who, like you, I think we all invest, right? And I think we should. So, that's been, from what I've witnessed, that's been over the last year or two, I've seen you jump into that arena, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And so are you investing mostly here in the Dallas Fort Worth, or you're going all the way to Longview? What does that look like for you?
So it's funny you mentioned Longview. I am actually working on a wholesale deal down in Longview. But going back to your initial question in regards to the investing, so I started last year, last May. And the reason behind that, I already have one investment property that I have that is a rental, that's an income producing property. And so my goal is to have a portfolio of rental properties, and the three rentals that I'll have, I want each one of my children to have one of those properties as well. And then just building out that portfolio to bring in generational wealth through the real estate. So that was one of the reasons I got it. And then two, I like to try new things. So I was like, let's see how this works. And so learning experience, very different from the retail side of real estate, but not anything that, I will not say, I won't do it again. So that's what I'm working on. So right now, Dallas and I'll say the East Texas area for investing.
Um, and quickly, East Texas is Dangerfield in that general area. Or it's not.
Dangerfield is
Mhm.
about maybe 45 minutes from Longview.
Okay. Okay. That's cool because we might need to talk. I've got a referral and I'm just not, it's just a piece of land. I'm not sure if it's something that I can handle, but anyway, we'll talk maybe off screen. And my last question to you is being from that area and your father being a very successful uh, coach there. How has that influenced, I'd say, you? Because I know you're athletic. I've seen you on the basketball court schooling your kids, right? Right. I know that um, being a top level athlete myself, how has that either being reared in that household or being around it? I mean, it's had some type of effect on you. Describe that to us.
Sure. So one thing, so my mother, who's kind of behind the scenes, she did a little bit of sports, but growing up in that type of household, it was very structured. That also, I was taught work ethic at a very young age. One of the things that both my mother and my father instilled in me at a very young age is we don't quit. If we start in something, then we're going to finish it out. We do not quit. And so it was always a no quit attitude. The other thing, too, is watching my father not only just being a coach, but being a pillar in the community as far as serving, giving back. He and my mother, we were very grounded in church. And so the word was instilled in my sister and I at a very young age. And that has carried me until my adulthood. And even facing life challenges, I had to go back to my root, what I was taught. My dad, has always, I talk to my dad about 2 or 3 times a day. He'll call. And, he's just checking on me. And then by the time, afternoon comes, he's calling about the kids. But just seeing my parents model, okay, one, setting that example, working hard. They were both educators. We don't quit teaching and then pouring back into others. They are nurturers as well. And so I feel like I picked up a lot of those characteristics just growing up in that household. So that
How
has
could
helped.
How could you not? And again, I love the fact that, you know, you've mentored and modeled what you've seen. And I love the fact that sometimes we are so counter to um, the public's vision of us that, we were raised by Big Mama, right? It's like, no, I mean, it was Ben and Ruby Baker for, for 58 years. That's what I modeled, right? Same thing, a work ethic that's so strong. My grandfather, my dad, they're so strong, but they're very quiet. They let their actions do the talking, and that's a lot of who I am, right? Like you, I started at 14 years old and had my own stockbroker by the time I was in ninth grade, right? But that's what I saw. I saw work hard, and I knew that I was going to be wealthy. I just didn't know what the vehicle was, and here it is, it's real estate. So thank you for sharing that. Now I'm sure there's a message or two that's on your heart. So without further ado, what is it that you'd like to share with the audience today? Again, about your success, leadership. I don't care what it is. I just want to hear from you.
Okay, so I wrote down a couple of things because I always like to add value when I'm on these platforms. And so, one of the things that I want to just share is starting the day off with gratitude. You would be surprised how far that will take you. And the reason I say that, because I can remember a time when I would just wake up, get on social media, and this is when I was teaching, and I didn't realize that was frazzling my brain. Because, social media, depending on your following, that can have you riled up, or it can do something to your mood. So the past, I want to say 4.5, 5 years, I always start my day with gratitude. I start with the word, and then I have an hour or 10 minutes with God, and then I do affirmations daily. And I was sharing with a couple of my friends, I say, man, these affirmations, they are really coming to fruition. And I've always known the power of words, and I even stay on my children about the words that they speak over themselves. When they one my son, he was dealing with some confidence issues, and I would say, hey man, at the time he was in the sixth grade, and I say, no, you are the smartest sixth grader at KJ. And he'd be like, mom, and I said, you are. I said, when you take that test, you're gonna knock it out the park. I said, you got this. And just speaking those words over them and letting them know, hey, you don't have to accept what somebody else is speaking. So going back to starting with gratitude, and also am thankful for just seeing another day, because we oftentimes feel like, okay, we're going to get up tomorrow, and that's not guaranteed. And so when I open my eyes, I say, God, I thank you for allowing me to see another day. One of my daily prayers, and it's even an affirmation, I always ask God, place somebody in my path to where I can be some type of assistant servant to them. And I always say, God, whoever I come in contact with, let them see your light shining through me, because it's not just Tiffany Todd. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't by the grace of God and just being in his presence. And so I think that goes hand in hand. And so I want to share about just starting the day off with gratitude. I do that every day, and it makes a ton of difference. And even sometimes, some days, because we all have those days that are not great days, but
Mm.
I have been intentional about not staying there. So I'll share, like yesterday, I woke up and I was feeling a little defeated. And I said, okay, Tiffany, you can either stay here or you can get up and you can get out of this funk. And I said, okay, I'm choosing to get up. Because if I had stayed there, that would have molded my day into something that I didn't want to see. So I got up and I just started speaking. Today's going to be amazing. I got this. Today is my day. Whatever is happening is supposed to happen. And that quickly reframed. So I'm really big on affirmations and mindset. So that's one thing that I want to share. And then another thing that I want to share, and I must give a shout out to my fellow realtor colleague, Rosemary Lewis. I don't know if you all know Rosemary, but I took Rosemary's class in 2021. I had been going through my divorce. It was finalized and was just needing some pick me up. I was in a funk, just dealing with that. And so I enrolled in her class, and one thing that has helped me to this day, and I tell anybody this, is her time blocking session. She had a module over time blocking, and at the time, okay, yes, I had a schedule, but was I really following this schedule to a T? No, I was not. And so she had this module over time blocking, and she was just expressing how, with when she put time blocking in place, how it helped her take control over her day. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. And so I got my Google Calendar and I started time blocking. Okay, from this time I'm doing this time I'm doing this. And the first I would say first month or so, it was hit or miss. But as I continue to do it, that repetition, that has been how I have framed my day here. And so anyone that I've ever shared my calendar with, they know what I'm doing now. Give or take, there may be some times I may have to move things around, but I must give her her accolades for that, or her kudos, because she really helped. That was a piece of my business that it was just kind of up in the air, and that has really helped me stay in control of my day. So now I know, okay, 11 o'clock, it's time for me to hit my lead generating. I've got to do this from this time. And so I am just really grateful for that piece that I was able to add to my business, the lead generating piece. So,
Well, I haven't heard of. I'll do my darndest to find Rosemary Lewis. I don't know if she's still teaching that class because, you know, 3 decades into this business, Christina will attest to this, that, my schedule is not where it should be. I don't time block like I should. So that's a growth opportunity for me. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it's important to hear that, even from a seasoned professional like you, because there are a few people on the call that are newer in the business, i.e., one, my son, who's here. And I think that's important for, especially for our kids, right? If you're in this business, we have flexibility, but sometimes that flexibility is the biggest crutch we've got.
mhm,
It's not a positive for most, right? It's
right.
a huge negative that we have to overcome. So thank you for sharing that. Now, again, I know
Absolutely.
you mentioned mindset, and I appreciate the affirmations because I think you've said it, and we all know it. Our words have power, and
Mhm,
I've had to watch it, Tiff, myself a few times, putting some negativity out there, and I'm like, all right, soon as it rolls off my tongue, I'm like, all right, dang, let me reel that back, right? And then
mhm,
I switch it up, right? It's like, no, I don't have to, I get to, right? So
right.
thanks for sharing that. And again, you had mentioned mindset, which again, we know is so important in this business, right? You can find yourself in the mud. We just can't wallow there too long, right? We got to get up and get cleaned off, right? So
Yes.
talk to me. You said mindset. Speak on that for a sec.
So mindset, coming into this business, being an educator, I'll just start at the beginning because that was a mindset shift. I'm going from having to be at work by 8:30, 4 o'clock. My day ends, I'm done teaching, so going with kids and shifting over into this entrepreneurial mindset. It took a minute, and I've shared this before on other platforms that I've talked on. When I first got into this business, literally every single thing that I got my hands on, there was an issue with it. I kid you not. I remember having a listing, and I was so excited because it just kind of fell in my lap, only for the guy at the title company to call and say they did it was a quick claim deed. They were supposed to do some type of warranty deed, and having to go and get my sign because they couldn't sell the house because the ex-spouse and this, and then getting another listing, only for these people to be on drugs and say that I produced the fake listing agreement, and calling and sending me harassing messages. And I remember my father, he said to me, he said, why don't you just go back to teaching? He said, this is just not working out for you. I had depleted all of my funds. I was 30,000 in the hole, no money, broke. I can't make this up. Broke is all get out. And of course, I was married, so thank goodness that for that. But I was broke. I didn't have any money and maxed out credit cards. And so he said, I don't like seeing you like this. Go back to the classroom. And I said, no, Dad. I said, I'm going to keep up at this. And it was a period of time when I would talk to him, because I talked to him every day about real estate, and he would like blow me off. And that did something to me. And so I was in the office one day. I had gotten a listing, gotten a cash offer on it, was set to close on my birthday. I was so excited, only for my client to call me and say, Tiffany, we got a problem. And I said, what? She said, the payoff that you have is not correct. I actually owe more. And when we redid the calculation, she was going to have to come to the money. I mean, come to the table owing money. And she was like, I don't have this. And I was like, oh gosh, what? And I got with one of the seasoned agents in the office, and he was like, well, maybe if you just cut your commission to 1%. They were at the time they were buying another house. And so he was like, you make your money back. Let's get you in contact with putting them with the new build, and you'll make that back. And so, long story short, I was sitting in the office crying. And I remember the agent, he was like, don't cry. And I was just like, I don't get it. Everything I've gotten my hands on has a problem. I was like, maybe this is not for me. And at that moment, I was about to give up. And then later that day, I called my grandmother, and I was talking to her, and I was crying. And she said, listen to me, Tiffany. She said, stop crying. She said, it's going to work out. She said, think positive. And she said, don't you be worrying about any money. She said, as long as I'm alive, I got you. She said, stop crying. I got you. And at that moment, something did like this in my brain. And I said, you know what? I said, this is happening to me early on. So that way, when I start really becoming great at real estate, I'll be able to help others when they have these issues. And it's like from then on, and this was in 2014. By 2015, I was in an office of 45, smaller office. My production had doubled. And it was just like my mindset shift. So every day I started going into the office, and I didn't have clients per se at that time. But what I was doing, I was surrounding myself with those agents that were in production. I was doing open houses for them. I was talking to them. I was like, okay, what do I need to do? They were like, okay, you need to set up your database. Okay, I set up my database. I started feeding into my database. I started this business Facebook page that was called What's Real in Real Estate with Tiffany Todd. Every Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m., I had a house of the week that I was choosing. People started sharing that. And it's almost like it was a transformation. And from then on, I just started learning and learning. And I never, and even to this day, I have not arrived. There's always more that I can learn. And so I have always been very intentional about surrounding myself with others that are doing more than what I'm doing. And I'm all about collaboration. I'm not in competition with anybody. And another thing that I was going to share, which ties into this, is with the way real estate is changing. If there's anybody on here and you have been in this competitive mindset, oh, I got to be against this agent, you need to stop it and get out of that, because now more than ever, especially with listings in certain areas, you need to be collaborating with your fellow realtor colleagues, because you don't know if they have somebody, you just don't know. And so now is the time where we really need to be working together, not against each other, to help each other out. And so, again, sharing this because I this year have been listing heavy. One, I have a property that's been on for a while, and my clients are frustrated. And this is one thing I do know: your clients will feed off of your energy. So if you're calling them all riled up, hey, this, okay, they're going to pick up on that. And so by nature, I have a calm personality. It's very rare that you're going to see me just like really worked up, maybe at a game or something. But in business, I'm very calm, I'm even keel. And so I have these clients of mine, their house has been on, and we went over this. Well, where I'm going with this is I have started calling other agents in the neighborhood that have homes for sale so we can collaborate. We're putting together a tour of homes. The other thing is, I've reached out to those agents that have comparable properties under contract, because I'm asking, hey, what worked for you? Did you have multiple showings? Do you think those agents would mind maybe if I reach out to them to let them know there's another comparable home that's in the market? And so things like that, I feel like, are going to carry agents as this business is changing. And so, if I could share anything, if you are in competition or you say, oh, I don't talk to people, please, I'm almost begging you, get out of that. Because if you want to continue to be in this business, have success, you're going to have to change out of some of the old ways. And that goes for me too. I'm having to tweak as well. So, I'm hoping that this is helping those that are on here. I can't see, but it's all now, it's about, okay, your value, but how are you helping your clients? Because it's changing. And even as a buyer's agent, if you are buyer heavy, okay, what are you doing? What are your conversations looking like with these buyers when you're having these consults? Because now, you're letting them know, okay, there's been a change. So this is what's going on. Financially, when you sign this, this is my fee. This is what I charge if you would like to utilize my services. So financially, where are you? How can I help you? And there may come a time where that customer may not be for you. And you have to have those hard conversations because, again, we're changing and you've got to change. You've got to switch that mindset from where it was 2 or 3 years ago. We're not in that artificial market anymore. We're in a market where we're seeing days on market for listings longer than we've seen. So you've got to change your strategy. And even with buyers, what are you doing with them? Okay, again, this particular seller has said they're not offering any compensation. Now we've got to get a little creative, or if they don't have the means, we have to look at something else. And that is just the reality of the situation. So that is what I have to share.
That was plenty. Holy moly. Sweetheart, I think again, you were on the pulpit this morning because we needed to hear that word, right? You can't hear it enough because this market isn't even the same as it was 6 months ago. And holy crap, we can sit here and bitch and moan all day, or we can just lean into this is where we're at. Now let's go, right? And Tiff, I love it. And again, folks, I'll tell you this because Tiffany is part of our real estate family. She's not even part of my Keller Williams family. But what I love about this community, Tiff, you had touched on it. One of my best buddies, he's next to me on the screen, Steve Markell. Steve's office is right next door to mine. That wall right there separates the two of us, right? We've got a group here of Eagles. And again, we soar higher than anybody else, right? Collaboration today over competition is where we need to be in order to get to where we need to get to. So I love that because you know what? This is real estate company agnostic here. I don't care who you're with. As long as you're part of the real estate family, boom, I welcome you. I can learn from you. You can learn from us. So thank you for dropping the mic and sharing that this morning. Right.
You're welcome.
As we leave, is there any other nugget? Are you good?
I just also want to add this database, sphere of influence. Now more than ever. Now more than ever. Go back to the basics if you haven't. I'm doing 3 to 4 touches a month, handwritten notes, video text, emails. I'm doing it all and I'm seeing the results. I've gone back to the basics. So if you're new and you're like, I don't have a database, if you have a phone with contacts, you have a database. Utilize it. Don't be out here saying, oh, I got to go pay for these leads. No, you do not. People that know you, like you, and trust you, they will do business with you.